Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Pesachim Chavtes. We are on Chav Ches Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. But before we begin, perhaps we should have another look at that Mishnah back on Chav Ches Amud Aleph, which will introduce us to our sugya once again. So Chav Ches Amud Aleph, around 8 lines from the bottom, it says the Mishnah Chametz Shel Nachri She'avar Olav Pesach. If we have chametz which belong to a goy on Pesach, now it's past Pesach. What is the halacha? What is the status of that chametz? Mutar b'hana, you can derive benefit from that chametz. If it's shel Yisrael, however, the chametz which belong to a Yisrael on Pesach, even after Pesach, it is asur b'hana. Shenemar lo yirah l'chasor. You may not see sor on Pesach, and the Gemara will explain how this pasuk provides the makar for this halacha. Says the Gemara, Mani Masnisen, who's the Tana of our Mishnah? Lo Rabbi Yehuda, doesn't seem to be authored by Rabbi Yehuda, V'lo Rabbi Shimon, nor by Rabbi Shimon, V'lo Rabbi Yisrael Glili. We have 3 shittas, and they all don't seem to jive with our Mishnah. Ma'hi, where do we find these 3 shittas? The Sanya Chametz, Bein Lefnei Zmanoi, Bein Lachar Zmanoi, Iver Olav Belav. Chametz, whether before or after Pesach, there's a law for eating that chametz. So from Chatzos on Erev Pesach until nightfall, and likewise after Pesach, that's the chametz she'avar olav Pesach. It involves a lav for eating it. Toich zmanoi, however, on Pesach itself, that certainly is more chamer. Over olav belav v'kares. Not only is there a lav, there's kares as well. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, chametz after Pesach has a lav. Rabbi Shimon Omer, let's just say another couple of lines, then we'll drop down to the bottom of the Yom. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Chametz lefnei zmanu, lachar zmanu, eino over lav l'klum, before and after Pesach, there's no lav whatsoever. Toich zmanu, on Pesach itself, over lav v'kares b'lav, certainly there's a kares on lav. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, there is a lav after Pesach as well. According to Rabbi Shimon, there isn't. The Brisa continues, u'misha she'asar ba'achila, asar b'hana. At the very moment where the Issa Achila takes place, gets activated, the Issa Hana gets activated as well, and that's Asal Tanakam, that's following Shittas Rabbi Yehuda. We have a third Shittas. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Tamar Latzmacha. You may wonder, hey, chametz asur b'hana kol shiva. How do we know that even on Pesach itself, the 7 days of Pesach, the chametz will be asur b'hana, and indeed he holds that there's no isur hana on chametz, it's on Pesach itself. So we have 3 shittas. Rabbi Yehuda says, even on Pesach itself, there's no isur hana for chametz. Rabbi Shimon says, on Pesach itself, but not before or after. Whereas Rabbi Yehuda says, even before and after Pesach, there's the Isser on Chametz. Let's drop down to the bottom of the Amud. 2 lines from the bottom. Mani Masnisen. So who's the Tana, who's the author of our Mishnah? Our Mishnah which says that the Chametz of a Nachri she'avar olav Pesach, which experienced Pesach and now is after Yom Tov, that Chametz, since it belongs to a guy, is mutter. Whereas the Chametz of a Yisrael she'avar olav Pesach is asur b'hana. Who's the Tana of this Mishnah? Mani Masnis. Rabbi Yehuda, let's analyze. Is it going according to Rabbi Yehuda? Chametz stomach amar. He maintains that any chametz is asur after Pesach. Afilu denachri, even if he belongs to a goy. So the Mishnah that differentiates between a Yisrael, which is asur, and a goy, where it's mutar, apparently it's not Rabbi Yehuda's sheet. Be Rabbi Shimon, or we follow Rabbi Shimon, well, he's in the other direction. The Yisrael nami mishut kashari, even the chametz of Yisrael, he will be mater b'hana after the zman, because he says there's no lav whatsoever on chametz after Pesach. So on the one hand, we have Rabbi Yehuda says that after Pesach it's always asur. Rabbi Shimon says it's always mutter. The Mishnah that draws a line between the guy and the yid, whose shita is that? If it's following his shita, no. Afilu teich zmani nami mishra kashari b'hana. Even on Pesach itself, we just learned he will allow hana. So certainly after Pesach. So who is the man the Omar of our Mishnah? Omar of Achabar Yaakov Lo'ilam Rabbi Yehuda. Certainly it's following Rabbi Yehuda's shita. And Rabbi Yehuda, although he applies a lav to chametz after Pesach, but that's only if it belonged to a Yisrael, but not to a goy and not to a hegdish. V'yolef s'or da'achila mis'or da'riyah. He learns the s'or, the pasuk which says lo ya'achal chametz, meaning the pasuk which speaks about eating the chametz, having hanaf and the chametz after Pesach. He will connect it to the pasuk discussing bal yirah, which is speaking about on Pesach itself. Yolef s'or da'achila mis'or da'riyah. What does that mean? Masar Diriya, just as the pasuk describing the Isser of seeing your chametz on Pesach, Le'yiro l'chasoir, Shalcha Yataroya. It only applies to yours. Le'yiro l'cha, only if it's Shalcha, if it belongs to you, to the Yisrael. Aval Ataroya, Shal Acherim Shal Gavoya, but certainly you can see. You can have around the chametz which belongs to Acherim, the Goyim, or Hegdish. Afsar Achila, likewise when it comes to the pasuk describing Lo Ya'achel, which is referring to after Pesach, the Achila Nano of that sir, it also only applies to your chametz. Shalcha yata oichel, aval ata oichel, shel acherim shel gavoya. But if it belongs to Hegdish or Acherim, which are Goyim, you may actually have that chametz after Pesach. So certainly min haTorah there's an Isser even on chametz after Pesach, but that's only if it belongs to you. If it's a chametz of Yisrael, but if it belongs to a Goy or Hegdish during Pesach, there's no Isser whatsoever. That's a cool according to Shittas Rabbi Yehuda. And our Tana, which applies an Isser only to the chametz of Yisrael after Pesach, but not to the Goyis, who we follow in Shittas Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara, Bedinhu. Now truthfully, really the Mishnah should have been matter even ba'achila, if it's a chametz of a Goy. Mishnah should have stated that the chametz of a Goy is mutter even ba'achila after Pesach, because the entire Issa, the entire concept of chametz achar Pesach doesn't apply to a Goy. So why then does the Mishnah specifically only state heter hana? V'aydi the Tana, the Yisrael asabana, on account of the fact that the Mishnah wanted to speak about the Isra hana by the chametz of Yisrael. That's a greater chiddush. The chametz of Yisrael is even asar b'hana after Pesach. So on account of that, Tananami, the Nachri mutar b'hana, that the Goy's chametz is mutar b'hana. But really, it goes much further. The chametz of a Goy is not only mutar b'hana, but also b'achi. Furthermore, ubedinu di boy le'lemisna. But really, the Mishnah should have said afilu b'tech zmana mutar b'hana. That even on Pesach itself, you can partake in the chametz of a Goy. Rashi learns it's even mutar b'achila, because the entire concept of refraining from eating chametz or hana from chametz only applies to the chametz of Yisrael. His chametz has prominence, but chametz of a Goy, it's not reckoned with, and you can even eat it. So why does the Mishnah speak only after Pesach? Since the Mishnah wanted to speak about the chiddush, that the chametz of Yisrael is also even after Pesach. Tananami the nachri achazmane. On account of that, the Mishnah also discussed that the chametz of the Goy is mutter l'achar zmane after Pesach, but certainly the heter applies even on Pesach itself. So this is whose version of Achar Bar Yaakov's approach. We had a kasha, who is the author of our Mishnah that says chametz of Yisrael is asur after Pesach, chametz of a Goy is mutter. Says Rabbi Yaakov, it's Rabbi Yehuda, although there's a lav applied to chametz after Pesach, but that's only the chametz of Yisrael and not the chametz of a Goy, which is mutter after Pesach and even on Pesach itself, because he connects the pasuk discussing achila to the pasuk discussing bal yirah, which is only applied to shalcha if it's yours, but not if it belongs to the Goy or Hekdesh. Rav Amar lo Rab Shimon. He says no, you can't go that far. According to Rabbi Yehuda, there's a lav after Pesach, whether it's the Yisraels or the Goys. Rather, our Mishnah is following Rabbi Shimon. Lo Rabbi Shimon, who holds that there isn't even a lav, even for the chametz of Yisrael after Pesach. Right? We learned that earlier. Only on Pesach itself is an Isra, but not before or after. So why then is the chametz of Yisrael also after Pesach? It's only with the Rabbanon. For Rabbi Shimon, knas or kanis. Rabbi Shimon applies a knas. If a person was over bal yirah, Chacham penalized him. You can't partake in that chametz even after Pesach. Since he was over bal yirah bal matzah, so it only applies to the chametz of Yisrael, in which case it was an Isser. But the chametz which belonged to a Goy on Pesach, in which case there was no Isser bal yirah bal matzah involved, likewise no knas was applied. So at this point we have two approaches to understand our Mishnah, which says that the chametz of Yisrael after Pesach is Asr, but not the chametz of a Goy. Approach number one, Rav Bar Yaakov, Shittas Rabbi Yehuda was speaking about, that after Pesach, min haTorah the chametz is Asr, but just as by Re'iyah of chametz, it only applies to Shalcha, if it's yours, but not the ones of a Goy. Likewise, when it comes to Isra Achila, only the chametz of the Yisrael is Asr, but not the Goys. According to Rav's approach, who following Shittas Reb Shimon, Minat Torah, there's absolutely no Isser on Chametz after Pesach. It's a Knas Rabbanan, only in a case where there was an Avera Bal Yirah Bal Yimatzah, meaning the Chametz of Yisrael. Continues the Gemara. You may recall that the Mishnah on Chav Ches Amud Aleph concluded with a pasuk. Chametz of Eiv. Goy after Pesach is mutter, Chametz of Yisrael is aser, shenemar lo yirah lo chasar. Says the Gemara, let's try to understand the placement of that pasuk. Bishleim le Rava, according to Rava we understand, Hainu de Tani shel Yisrael aser. Mishnah reads smoothly. That's why the Chametz of Yisrael is aser, because Mishum shenemar lo yirah, because of the pasuk lo yirah, which denotes that there's an issa to have that chametz around, and in the case where he was over on that issa, Chacham applied a knas. So the pasuk reads very smoothly. That is the reason for the knas by the chametz of the Yisrael. Elul Rav Acha bar Yaakov, according to Rav Acha bar Yaakov, who tells us that following Shittas Rabbi Yehuda, there's a pasuk lo yachal chametz which is meant to be applied to that period after Pesach. So the Mishnah says, well, the chametz of the goy is mutter, but the chametz of the Yisrael is asur mishum shenemar, because of which pasuk? Which pasuk should it be citing? Mishum lo yachal chametz me'boile. It should have brought the pasuk lo yachal chametz to explain why the chametz of the Yisrael is asur after Pesach. Rather, the pasuk, the Mishnah brings lo yirah lecha, which seems out of place. Misavras haseifer koy. Do you really think that the pasuk is in reference to the last halach in the Mishnah? The chametz of the Yisrael is also because of this pasuk? No! That's based on le'achal chametz. Rather, the reason why the Mishnah is bringing this pasuk to explain the reisha koy, the initial part of the Mishnah where the chametz of the goy is mutter. That's what we're coming to explain. V'achei ka'amar. And this is what the Mishnah is saying. Chametz shel nachri she'avar lo Pesach mutter b'hana. Why is the chametz of a goy after Pesach mutter? Mishum shenemar lo yirah lecha. Pasuk says you can't see your chametz on Pesach. Shel choya teroya. You may not see the chametz of Yisrael. Aval teroya shel acherim v'shel gavaya. But you may see the chametz of the goy of Hegdish. And now, how does that apply to the din achila after Pesach? Very simple. V'yolef sar da'achila mesar deriyah. As we said earlier, the Rabbi Yehuda will derive the isser, the framework of the isser achila from the framework of the isser re'iyah. Just as when it comes to re'iyah, it only applies to shalcha, to yours, but not to the goyis. Likewise, when it comes to isser achila, for instance, after Pesach, it's only the chametz of the Yisrael which is asur, but not the chametz of the goy. So once again, the pasuk cited in our Mishnah, according to Rav, it reads smoothly. Come to explain why the chametz of the Yisrael is asur b'hana, because lo yirah lecha. He was over in that avera, and therefore midrabbanan they applied a knas. Whereas according to Rav Acha bar Yaakov, it's in reference to the first part of the Mishnah, to explain why the goy the chametz is mutter, because the pasuk said lo yirah lecha so'er. You may not see your chametz on Pesach, but the goys you may, and we connect. We derive the isra achila from the isra re'iyah, just as there, when it comes to re'iyah, it exempts the chametz of the goy. Likewise here, by isra achila, the chametz of the goy is exempted, and that's why the chametz of the goy is mutter. So at this point, we have a big nafkamina between Rav Acha bar Yaakov, who says that even according to Rabbi Yehuda, the chametz of a goy is mutter after Pesach, whereas according to Rava, not necessarily. He will hold that according to Rabbi Yehuda, everything is asur after Pesach. There's no reason to exempt the chametz of the goy. Our Mishnah is following Reb Shimon, where there's no isur altogether. It's only the Rabbanan. That's only applied to the yid, not to the goy. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, any chametz after Pesach is asur b'achil and b'hana. V'ozl tamayu, both Rav Acha bar Yaakov and Rava are in line with their opinions, their respective opinions stated elsewhere. The itzmar ha'oichel so'er shel nachri she'avar olav Pesach liv Rabbi Yehuda. One should eat the chametz of a goy after Pesach, in accordance to Rabbi Yehuda, who applies a lava to that period. What happens if it's the chametz of a goy? Rav Amar Loika, he says certainly there's malchus. There's no reason to exempt the chametz of the goy, according to Rabbi Yehuda. Whereas Rabbi Acha bar Yaakov Amar Ein Loika, there's no malchus. Why? Rav Amar Loika lo yolef Rabbi Yehuda sar da'achila misar deriyah. Rabbi Yehuda never derives the isra of achila from the isra of re'iyah. By re'iyah, there's an exception, there's an exemption by the chametz of the goy, but not by achila. So after Pesach, he gets malchus even for eating chametz of a goy. Why? Yolif sar d'achila, misar d'riyah, because he derives the isra achila from riyah, just as by riyah, the chametz of the goy is exempted, likewise by achila. Okay, so conclusion. Mishnah tells us chametz she'avar alav Pesach. If it's shal Yisrael, it's asur. If it's shal nachri, it's mutter. And the pasuk brought in the Mishnah is lo yirah l'chasar. We have two approaches. Rabbi Yaakov says, Mishnah is following Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that min Torah. There is an isser to eat the chametz of Yisrael after Pesach. And that explains the reason why shal Yisrael is asur, because lo yachal chametz, it's a pasuk. Whereas when it comes to the nachri, it's mutter. He learns achila from re'iyah. And just as by re'iyah, the pasuk exempts the chametz of the goy, likewise when it comes to achila. And the Mishnah brings the pasuk of lo yirah l'cha, it's coming to explain why the chametz of the nachri is mutter. Because lo yirah l'chasar, only shalcha cannot be seen, but the goys can, and we derive the isra achila from the isra of bal yirah. Rava's approaches, following Shittas Reb Shimon. Min Torah, there's no isra whatsoever on chametz after Pesach. The reason why Shal Yisrael is asr because of a knas, because he was over on Bali Rabbi Yimatz. When it comes to the chametz of a nachri, it's mutter because there was no aver and therefore there's no knas. When the Mishnah says lo yirah l'cha is the reason, that's coming to explain why the chametz of the Yisrael is asr, because there was an aver of lo yirah, and therefore the chacham applied a knas. Yesterday I saw in the Sefer Baruch Nafshi from Reb Zilberstein, Eretz Yisrael, he brings a story that there was some girls during the Holocaust who adamantly refused to eat the chametz which they received from the Nazis on Pesach, and they put it in their pocket, they held on to it, but they wouldn't eat it. And that saved their lives, because afterwards on the death march, they had what to eat. They had what to sustain themselves from that chametz. And he says, well, you shouldn't think perhaps there was a isser of chametz she'avar alav Pesach on that bread. He says because it's only when there was an isser done that the chacham applied a knas, but this chametz was mutter b'achila for them. Halachically speaking, they could have eaten it even on Pesach itself because of pikuach nefesh. So although they were machmer, tremendous mysterious nefesh, they were machmer not to eat it. But that's not what the chacham had in mind. That chametz was mutter b'achila, and certainly after Pesach it was mutter, no knas would be applied. Continues the Gemara. V'hader be'Rav Achar bar Yaakov mahi. Actually, Rav Achar bar Yaakov retracted. He backtracked from this chiddush, this tremendous chiddush that he held that, according to Rabbi Yehuda, although min Torah chametz is asur after Pesach, that only applies to the chametz of Yisrael, not the chametz of a goy. He was hader by he reverted. How do we know? Because he's going to have a brisa, and no less than 5 ways to explain the brisa. One of them happens to be in the name of Rav Achar bar Yaakov, where we see clearly that he no longer holds of that chiddush that he presented here. Let's see. The Sanya ha'oichel chametz shel hegdish b'moed. If a person should eat chametz which belongs to hegdish, the Beis Hamikdash, on Pesach itself, mal, he is committed me'ilah, he has to pay back the principal plus the fifth plus bring a carbon. V'yesh oimrim leimal. Some say no, there's no din me'ilah here. It doesn't apply in this case. What is the basis for the machlekes? Man yesh oimrim. Who is the author of this yesh oimrim? Who say there was no me'ilah done? Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Nechunyo ben Akoneh. It's following Shitas Rabbi Nechunyo ben Akoneh. Now, as Rashi explains, both Shitas seem to be following Shitas Rabbi Shimon, who holds that chametz after Pesach is mutter. Although Chacham applied a knas, but that only applies to the chametz that belongs to an ordinary person, but not the chametz of Hegdish, in which case there was no Bal Yirah. So this chametz, technically after Pesach, would be mutter b'hana b'achil even to a Yisrael. So technically, this chametz has value. Although right now you can't have hana, but since if the Hegdish holds on to it, they can go ahead and sell it after Pesach. So it's something that really has value. So why would this person be pata? Why would the Yesh Oimrim say there was no me'ilah done? We're following Shittas Rabbi Nechunyo ben Akoneh, who holds that whenever a person commits an avera which involves Oynesh Misa, he's exempt from the moment. So whenever it entails capital punishment, there's no monetary payment. The Sanya Rabbi Nechunyo ben Akoneh Oysa is Yom Kippurim k'Shabbos l'tashlim. He would equate Yom Kippur to Shabbos when it comes to payments. What does that mean? Ma Shabbos mischayev benafshe. Just if a person did a malacha which involved harming somebody else's property. For instance, he ignited his friend's granary. So he was mazikim, he inflicted harm, he damaged, but since it was a malacha, right, lighting a fire is one of the 39 malachas, so there's a chiv nefesh, a chiv misa. So we learn from a pasuk that whenever there's a chiv misa, it exempts him from chiv mammon. Ma Shabbos mischayev benafshe. Just as on Shabbos, where there's a chiv misa from Bezdin, so he's mischayev benafshe as a result of that chiv nefesh, that capital liability, that makes him potter, or potter metashlum, and he no longer has to pay for the monetary damages that he inflicted. After Yom Kippurim, likewise Yom Kippur, even though it doesn't entail the Mrs. Bezdin, it's Kuris, which comes from heaven, from Shamayim. There as well we apply the same concept, mischayev benafsho, you potter metashlum, and since he's chayev, that chayev misa min hashamayim, therefore he's potter from tashlumin. We learn from a pasuk, v'lo yeh asoin onesh, only when there's no chayev misa, then he will have to pay, but otherwise he's potter from payment. So that's why there's no me'ilah. There's no monetary chayev when it comes to the hegdish. The hegdish chametz that was eaten on Yom Kippur, because he's chayev kuris, he's mischayev benafshe. Therefore, he's potter from tashlumin. As Rashi explains, if there's no keren, there's no principal liability, then there's no chaimish and there's no karba me'ilah. Whereas the Tanakama, who says even if he eats the chametz of hegdish on Pesach, he's moil, that Tanakama holds that this concept that chiv misa is poiter tashlumin only applies to a chiv misa of bezeh benata by chametz on Pesach, which involves kuris ve'shamayim. Therefore, he says, well, you've damaged the property of hegdish, you've eaten their chametz, and therefore you are moil, you have to pay the keren, the chaimish, and a korban meal. And as Rashi explained, once again, we're speaking about Shitas Rabbi Shimon, who holds that after Pesach, minat Torah, there's no Isra Hana, there's chametz. It's only midrabanan, apply the knas, and in the case of chametz hegdish, since there was no isur done, there was no bal yirah on the chametz of hegdish. We learned that earlier. You can see the chametz of hegdish, so therefore there's no knas applied. And since this thing really has value after Pesach, we consider this thing to be valuable even now on Pesach. A person eats it, he's liable, he has to pay tashlumin for the value of what he ate. So that's Rabbi Yochanan's approach. Again, the Tanakama holds that there's a chiv mammon. The Yeshayim holds no, he's exempt because there's a chiv misa, which exempts him from mammon. Rabbi Yosef Amar, he has a different approach. He holds that both shitas, the shita that says there is milah and the shita that says there's no milah, are actually following shitas Rabbi Yisrael Galili, who holds that chametz, even on Pesach itself, is mutzah b'hana. So really, this chametz should have value even now, in the present moment on Pesach itself. So what is the pshat in the machlokes? One shita says mo'al, he committed milah. Other shita says he's potter. B'poidin es hakotchem la'achilon l'klobim kamiflagi. Machlokes says whether or not the person can go redeem the hegdish to feed dogs. Meaning, the only thing we can do with the chametz on Pesach is to redeem it, to be poided, and feed it to dogs, feed it to a guy, or perhaps use it as fuel. You can't eat the chametz on Pesach. All agree you can't eat that chametz. So even according to Rabbi Yehuda, that this chametz is mutar b'hana, but it's also b'achil. The only thing you can do is go redeem it and feed it to a dog or to a guy or something like that. So this type of hana, is it mutar? Can you take hegdish and commit it to a hana like that, to use such as feeding it to dogs? Manda Ramal, the shita that said that this fellow who ate the chametz of hegdish on Pesach committed milah, he holds, yeah, this chametz has value. Why? Because somebody holds, poidin es hakotchem lachilin l'klovim. Who may redeem kotchem to feed him to dogs? And therefore this chametz is considered to be something of value even on Pesach. Once again, we're speaking in Rabbi Yehuda, you can have a no on Pesach. And since you can take this chametz of hegdish and be poided to feed it to a dog, it's considered to have value. You can sell it for a dog. So therefore, if a person eats it, he is chayiv. He's chayiv to pay. The other shita says there was no milah. He holds has no value. Because he holds ain't poidin. They cannot be poided the hegdish to feed to dogs. Rashi brings the Gemara in Tmura, because it says, V'ochalto, you meant to eat it, v'loi leklavim, rather than feed it to dogs. It's meant to be eaten. You can't go and use the hegdish for other purposes. So that explains the machlekes. The sheet that says that this person eats chametz on hegdish on Pesach is moyal, because this thing has value, it can be sold, and therefore he has to pay. He has to pay the keren, the chomish, and the meila. And apparently Rashi points out, we're not following Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, who holds that when there's a chiv curse, there's no tashlumin. Both shitas here won't hold to that shita of Rabbi Yehuda Kessler. The question only is whether or not it has value. According to the Tanakama, it has value because it could be sold for dogs. According to the Yesh, there's no value because you can't do that with something of hegdish. It's considered to be valueless, and therefore there's no chiv tashlumin. So that's the second approach of Rabbi Yosef. Ravacha bar Rava Tanala Lahashmata Mishrei Rav Yosef Bahalishna. Ravacha bar Rava presented this interpretation in the name of Rav Yosef in a different version, as follows. I'm going to explain the two shitas, Mo'al, Loi Mo'al. This is how it's going to be explained. The Kuliyama all agree. Ein poidin es hakachim la'achilon l'klavim. You may not redeem kachim and have it fed to the dogs. You can't do that. The only thing you could do is feed the kachim to Yisrael. V'hacha v'aka miflagi, machlek is as follows. B'davar ha'goyrim l'mamen k'mamen dami. The question is, we have something which at the present moment has no value, but it can be goyrim l'mamen. It can lead to monetary benefit. For instance, in this case, where you have the chametz, which right now is asur b'hana, but the following sheet is Reb Shimon. So after Pesach, it's mutar because the entire concept is only d'Rabbanan. It only applies to the chametz of Yisrael, not the chametz of Hegdish. So certainly this chametz would be mutar after Pesach. They can go and sell it to Yisrael. But since currently there's no value, should we attribute value to this item based on the future or not? So that's the question. B'davar hagoyrim l'mamin k'mamin dami. Something which can lead to value, lead to money. Is it considered to have value now? Man damar mal, the shita that said that when a person eats this chametz of Hegdish on Pesach itself, he did me'ilah because he took something of value away from Hegdish. That shita holds, kasavar, davar hagoyrim l'mamin k'mamin dami. Something which can lead to monetary benefit, something which can be sold to Yisrael after Pesach, is considered to have value already now. Therefore, he took something of value away from Hegdish. Uman da'amar le'mal, she that said there's no me'ilah, kasavar davar hagarim l'mamen, lav k'mamen dami, something although which in the future will have value, it is garim l'mamen. We look at the present moment, we don't reckon with futures. What's going to happen in the future cannot be attributed to the current moment, and therefore right now, there's no value, and this person hadn't committed any me'ilah, because it wasn't anything of value which he took away from Hegdish. So according to this approach, all agree that the chametz on Pesach is asur. Following Reb Shimon, it's only after Pesach that it's mutar min haTorah. With the Rabbanan, there's a knas, but it won't apply here because it's Hegdish. So certainly this Hegdish can be sold to Yisrael even after Pesach. The question is, does that future value give it value now as well? And that's the shita that holds mal, where the other shita holds goyim l'mamen is not mamain, and right now, in its current state moment, there's no value, and therefore there's no me'ilah. Ravacha bar Yaakov Amar has another approach, and we're going to focus on this approach. He says like this: the kuli alma dovar hagoyim l'mamen k'mamen dami. All agree, something which can lead to monetary benefit is considered to have value now as well. So what is the machlekes? V'hacha beplukta the Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Shimon kamiflagi. Machlekes in the brisa whether or not there was me'ilah is actually contingent on Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Shimon. Man damar loy mal, one that holds that there was no me'ilah. Rabbi Yehuda, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda that just as the chametz is also on Pesach, there's an isser to have chametz after Pesach as well. Chametz she'avar lava Pesach. And even this chametz, which belongs to Hegdish, will have that isser. Therefore, there's no value to this thing. Not right now, and not in the future. Because there's nothing you can do with this chametz any longer. So it has no value, there's no me'ilah. Uman damar mal, the shita that said there was me'ilah, Reb Shimon. Hazak Reb Shimon that min Torah there's no Isser on chametz after Pesach. It's only D'Rabbanan and won't apply to this case, which is kachim. Right, something of hegdish doesn't get the knas because there's no Isser Bal Yirah. So although in its present moment it has no value, but it's going to have value after Pesach, you can sell it to the Yisrael, and something which is Gorim L'Mammon is considered to have value. And therefore, when a person eats this chametz, he has taken something of value and committed me'ilah. Says the Gemara, just stop for a moment. What's going on here? V'harav Achabar Yaakov Yehuda Amar. Didn't he himself tell us earlier? The Rabbi Yehuda Yolef Sa'ar Da'achila Mis'ar Deriyah. Then according to Rabbi Yehuda, the chametz of a goy, or similarly the chametz of hegdish, will be exempt from that Isser of chametz she'avar olav Pesach because he learns the Isser Achila from the Isser Re'iyah. Just as by Re'iyah, it's only Shalcha, it's only, if it's yours, it's a problem, but if it belongs to Kachim or a Goy, there's no concern. The same thing with regards to Isra Achila. That explained our Mishnah why Chametz Shavuot Pesach was mutter, belonged to a Goy. That was a bracha by Yaakov. And now he just told us that even the Chametz of Hegdish is also after Pesach. How can that be? Elahadabei Rav Acha bar Yaakov Mahi. Apparently, Rav Acha bar Yaakov reverted. He backtracked from that Chiddush. He no longer holds that according to Rabbi Yehuda, the chametz of a goy or of hegdish will be mutter after Pesach. Continues the Gemara with yet another approach to explain the machlokes between moal and lo moal. Rav Ashi Amar, the kuli alma, ein poidin. Everybody holds you can't redeem kachim to have it fed to the dogs or to feed it to a goy. But as Rashi explains, you can still use it for other purposes. For instance, as fuel. The Yisrael can take it and put it under his stove. But otherwise you can't. You can't go and feed it to the dogs and to the goy. That's number one. That's agreed upon by all. V'davar hagoyim l'mammon lav kimam adamim. And likewise, all agree. Something which has no monetary value now, even though in the future it will, future value is not applied to the current moment. So it's not considered to be something of value. So what is the machlekes? V'acha beplukta the Rabbi Yosef Lili v'Rabbana kamifli. The machlekes, whether this person was moyel by eating the chametz of hegdish, is contingent on the machlekes between Rabbi Yosef Lili and the Rabbanan, whether or not chametz on Pesach itself is mutter b'hana. Rabbi Yosef. The one that said there was me'ilah is following Rabbi Yosef. Chametz even on Pesach is mutter b'hana. So this chametz of hegdish can be redeemed and used to fuel his stove, his oven. It has value now, has a na now. So a person who eats it did me'ilah. The sheet that said there was no me'ilah follows Rabbanan, that chametz on Pesach itself is asur b'hana. And since it's asur b'hana now, it's not considered to be something of value. And therefore he did no me'ilah. What about the future? The fact that after Pesach it's mutter? We can't reckon with that. Future won't apply value to the present moment. Because davar hagoyim l'mammon is lav kimam. So machlokes is whether or not chametz on Pesach itself is mutter. The sheet that says mal, also like Rabbi Yosef Lili, chametz on Pesach itself is mutter. As we mentioned earlier, tamal atzmacha. To wonder why is chametz on Pesach also? Rabbi Yosef Lili says chametz on Pesach itself is mutter. That's why it has value, and he did milah. The other sheet that follows Rabbanan, it's asur b'hana, has no value, and there's no milah. Okay, in conclusion, Brisa told us a person eats the chametz of hegdish on Pesach. One sheet that says mal, one sheet that says lo mal. We have 5 ways to explain the machlokes. Rabbi Yechanan, he holds that the both following Rabbi Shimon, that after Pesach, when Torah there's no Isser, it's only D'Rabbanan. That doesn't apply in a case where there was no Isser done, such as chametz of hegdish. So since this chametz of hegdish is mutter b'hana after Pesach, it's considered to be something of value already now, and the person who ate it did milah. The shita that says loy mal holds like a b'chunim and akana. Since this eating of chametz on Pesach entails isur kares, the fact that he's mischayiv benavshoy exempts him from tashlumin. Rabbi Yosef's approach, the first approach of Rabbi Yosef was, all shitas are following Rabbi Yisrael Lili, that holds that even on Pesach chametz is mutter b'hana. Yeah, but that applies to a chametz of an ordinary person. The question is regarding chametz of hegdish, such as our case. Does it have value? Well, that depends if there's anything to do with this chametz. If you hold poidinis hakotchim lachilin l'klovim, you could take the kotchim and feed it to dogs, meaning use it for something which is a non-achila purpose. Yeah, then this chametz is deemed to be something of value, and therefore a person who partakes in this chametz on Pesach, he did milah. The other shita holds any poidinis hakotchim lachilin l'klovim, the only thing you can do with the kotchim is eat it, and therefore it's considered to be valueless on Pesach itself, because although you can have hana, but you can't eat it. And hana, other than eating, is asa when it comes to kachim. So it's not considered to be something of value, it's useless, and therefore there's no meal. According to the second approach, second version of Rav Yosef, all shitas follow Rabbi Shimon. On Pesach it's asa b'hana. After Pesach it's mutar b'hana. Although there's a knas de Rabbana, it doesn't apply by Hagdish, because there's no value raw. The question is, when we have something which at the present moment has no value, but is goyer in the moment, it can bring about monetary gain, is that considered to be valuable even now? One shita says, Mal, yeah, he did meal because right now it's considered to be something of value on account of the future. The other shita disagrees. He says, no, let's look at the present moment right now. It's valueless. Rabbi Yaakov says, the machlekes revolves around Reb Shimon and Rabbi Yehuda. The shita that said Mal is considered to be something of value. This following shita is Reb Shimon, who holds that after Pesach, this thing can be used. Because when Torah there's no Issa after Pesach, it's only Drabbana. It doesn't apply by Hegdish, where there was no Issa Bal Yirah. Therefore, this thing is considered to be something of value on account of its potential use after Pesach. The Shita says there was no Milah, following Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that even when it comes to Chametz of Hegdish, there's an Isser to have enough from it after Pesach. Therefore, it's considered to be something with absolutely no value. Finally, we have Rav Ashi, who says that the Shita that said Mal is following Rabbi Glili, that even on Pesach you can have a no. So you can take this hegdish, be paid it, and use it to fuel his oven. It's considered to be something of value, and if a person takes it away, he did milah. Whereas according to the Rabbanon who hold that on Pesach itself, you may not have enough from chametz. So if a person takes this chametz of hegdish and eats it on Pesach, he didn't do milah, because it's considered to be something absolutely valueless. Continues the Gemara, Amar Rav. Let's say some chametz should fall into other food which is mutter. Does it make it asur? So generally we know that there's a formula to follow when it comes to all types of taroivos, all types of mixtures involving isur and the Torah. There are actually two shittas. We have Rabbi Yehuda and Rish Lakish who say that the determinant is always whether or not it imparted flavor. Nice in tam. Was there enough isur there to give off flavor to the heter? Then it's asur. But otherwise, there's not enough to give tam. For instance, if you have 60 times as much heter as you have the isser, then it's batal b'shishin, because it doesn't have enough to give flavor to the rest of the mixture. So according to Rabbi Yehuda and Rish Lakish, the key is noisein tam. According to Rav Shmuel, however, it depends what the isser falls into. If it falls into something which is the same type of food, b'minoi, milk into milk, meat into meat, in that case, even a minute amount of isser will affect the entire mixture. It doesn't become batal. It is oiser even b'mashu. But if it's b'shaloi b'minoi, if it falls into something which is a different type of food, milk into meat, in that case, b'noisin tam. It would only make it aser if it has enough there to give off flavor into the rest of the mixture. Because when we have the contrasting flavors, they oppose each other. And if there's much more of heter, then the isser is nullified and batal. So according to Rav, if it's b'minoi, even a minute amount is enough to affect the entire taroivitz and it's asur. But if it's shaloi b'minoi, then you need to have enough isser to give off flavor. And that flavor should be discernible in the rest of the mixture, and that's what it makes it asur b'noisin tam. However, Rav will tell us a chiddush. When it comes to chametz on Pesach, I'm more machmer. Chametz on Pesach is not only a lav, it's a kares, it's something which people are not generally accustomed to separating from. Therefore, says Rav, on Pesach itself, even a minute amount of chametz falling into shaloi b'minoi, a food of a different flavor, different variety, different type, will make it us. Let's see in the Gemara. Amar Rav, chametz bismanei, chametz on Pesach itself, bein b'minoi, bein b'shaloi b'minoi asur. If a drop of chametz falls into minoi or even shaloi b'minoi, something of a different flavor, a different type, it makes it asur. That's only because on Pesach itself it's more chomer, this kares. Shalei bizmanai, however, after Pesach, although following Rabbi Yehuda, so there's a issa deraisa, there's a law, but since it's not kares, we don't have to be more machmer than other isurin shabatir. Shalei bizmanai, b'minoi asur. If a drop of chametz falls into something of minoi, same type, yeah, that's asur. And following with the general formula applied to all isurim. Shaloi b'minoi mutar. But if it's shaloi b'minoi, in that case, even just a drop of chametz won't do anything. It needs to have enough to give off flavor, b'nais and tam. We won't analyze these words. My skin, I'm always speaking about ilay b'nais and tam, that the chametz has enough volume to give off flavor to the rest of the taruvas. Is that what we're speaking about? Then we don't understand, because shaloi b'zmanai, if it's after Pesach, Rav says shaloi b'minoi mutar. Then if it falls into something which is of a different variety, different type, different flavor, it's mutar. What do you mean? Oh, you have taima. It's imparting flavor. It's nice and tam. Apparently, we're not speaking about that there was so much chametz that has the ability to give tam. El b'mash, we're speaking about just a minute amount of chametz. So that depends. Chametz b'zmanai, if it's on Pesach itself, then we're more machmer. We say, well, since it's kares, even just a drop of chametz can make something asur. Bein b'minoi, bein shaloi b'minoi asur. Whether it fell to something of its same min, something of a different min, it's asur. So generally, if it falls into something shaloi b'minoi, where we have the challenging, the contrasting flavor, that needs to give off tam. Otherwise, it's butter. But when it comes to Pesach, on Pesach itself, Rav is machmer. Rav l'tamei, Rav is in accordance with his shita. The Rav Shmuel Damitavai, they both said, Kol Yisur Shabbatayra, when it comes to other Yisur, generally any type of taroivis, of chel, of dam, b'minoi b'mashu, if it falls into something of its same type, then even a minute amount makes it asr. It's not butter, since you don't have the contrast in the flavors. Shaloi b'minoi b'neis tam, but if it falls into something that it's not, something which is not its type, shaloi b'minoi, then it only makes it asr if it is nois and tam. However, that only applies elsewhere. When it comes to chametz on Pesach, Rav is more concerned. Rav gozar chametz bizmanai. He applies the gzera to chametz on Pesach itself. Shaloi b'minoi, atu minoi. That even if it's shaloi b'minoi, which generally you need to have nesinas tam, a larger amount of iser. But over here, even if it's just a drop, he says it's aser shaloi b'minoi, atu minoi, on account of minoi. So just as minoi, even a mashu would make it asr. So he says the same thing applies to shaloi b'minoi. So one thing shouldn't lead to the next. So both have the same din, that even a mashu of chametz, whether it fell to minoi or shaloi b'minoi, is asr. That's only because it was on chametz, on Pesach itself, the isur occurs. But shaloi b'zmanai, but after Yantiv, b'minoi asr. So if this drop of chametz falls into minoi, yeah, then it's asr. Like any other isur would have that din. Rabbi Yehuda, he's following Rabbi Yehuda that after Pesach the chametz is asa, so therefore if a drop falls into minoi, it's asa. However, if this drop falls into shaloi b'minoi, then we don't apply any chumrah. We say, well, it's less. It has only a little bit. It can't go and give tam. There's no issue. The shaloi b'zman, since we're speaking after the zman, it's just a lav. It's not kares. So therefore, we deal with it like an ordinary isser. But shaloi b'minoi, atu minoi, to say that even a mashu that falls into something shaloi b'minoi should be considered asr on account of minoi, just as minoi is asr, shaloi b'minoi should be asr as well, one on account of the other. No, we don't say that. Kuli hayle gazrinon, to that extent, we don't apply gzera, because Rashi explains after Pesach, this chametz is not really unique. It doesn't have that added kares element. It's like any other isser, like chelev and dam. In that case, we apply the general formula. If it's b'minoi, yeah, then a mashu is oiser. But shloi b'minoi, you need to have more than a mashu. You need to have nitzinas tam. And therefore, chametz after Pesach has the same status as the other isurin, b'minoi mashu, shloi b'minoi b'noisen tam. So according to Rav, we apply a chumrah to chametz on Pesach itself due to the kares involved. And we say that even a drop, a minute amount of chametz, falling into whether minoi or even shloi b'minoi, will make it us. Shmuel Amar, he disagrees with Rav on two accounts. Number one, this chumrah, chametz on Pesach, he doesn't agree with. We apply the general concept that's applied to other isurim. We apply it to chametz on Pesach as well. So if it fell into minoi, yeah, then even a mashu is oyser. But if it's shaloi b'minoi, where you have the contrasting flavors, you need to give off a flavor to be considered, to be reckoned with. Otherwise, you're batel. And likewise, he holds that even after Pesach, any sort of mixture will be mutter. Let's see. Shmuel Amar, chametz bizmanoi, chametz even on Pesach, b'minoi asur. So we're speaking that a mashu fell in. So if it fell into something of minoi, since you don't have the contrasting flavors, then even a drop is still considered intact and is asur. Shalei b'minoi mutar, but if it's shalei b'minoi, then it's mutar because it doesn't have the ability to affect the rest of the group. That's one thing that he disagrees. Don Rav, he disagrees with the chiddush of the chametz on Pesach having a more stringent status. No, he says chametz on Pesach itself has the same din like other isurim. If it's just a drop and if it's shalei b'minoi, there's no concern. Number two, shalei b'zmanei. Once it's after Pesach, bein b'minoi, bein shalei b'minoi mutter. Whether it fell into minoi or shalei b'minoi, it's always mutter. And even if it gives off flavor, since it's not the isser itself it's not intact, any sort of mixture makes it mutter. Explains the Gemara. Chametz b'zmanei b'minoi asur. If this drop of chametz falls into minoi and it's on Pesach, it's asur. Shmuel tamei. Shmuel is following his shita elsewhere. That's the general formula. The Rabbi Shmuel Damit Havai, they both said, Kol isurim shebeteira, with regards to all isurim, b'minoi asurim b'mashu. If it falls into the same type, then even a drop makes asur. Shaloi b'minoi nesin tam. If it's something dissimilar, then it has to give off a flavor to be considered intact and reckoned with. And therefore Shmuel says, we're going to apply the same formula to chametz on Pesach. We don't apply an gzeira. Shaloi b'minon ato minon loy gaza. It doesn't say, well, just as if this drop falls into minoi, it's considered intact. Likewise, if it's shaloi b'minoi, we're going to stretch the isra over there and apply the gzeira. No, he doesn't hold up Rav's gzeira, even chametz on Pesach, despite its stringency of kares. It has the same halacha as all other isurim. So if this drop falls into minoi, it's not batal, but shaloi b'minoi is batal. That's number one. Number two, he says, shaloi b'zmanei, once it's after Pesach, bein b'minon, bein shaloi b'minon mutar. Whether the chametz falls into its min or something which is dissimilar to itself, it's mutar. And even if there's enough chametz there to give off flavor to the rest. Why? How's that? Ki Rabbi Shimon. Because, in contrast with Rav, who followed Rabbi Yehuda, that after Pesach there's an isser to eat the chametz min Torah. Therefore, we apply the formula of other Yisurim to this as well. Shmuel disagrees. He was like Rabbi Shimon. That in Torah there's absolutely no Isser to eat chametz after Pesach. It's only the Rabbanon. It's a knas. That only applies if the Isser is intact, the object, the item in which the Isser was committed with. The Bal Yirah. If you see it here, if you have it intact, then it's also. But once it gets mixed into something else, even if it has enough there to give a flavor to the rest of the group, it's mutter. So in conclusion, Shmuel disagrees with Rav on two accounts. Number one, even chametz on Pesach itself, despite its chumrah of kares, we're not going to be machmer. We're going to apply the general model. If it's b'minoi, it's oyser b'mashu. If it's shaloi b'minoi, you need to have tam. Number two, after Pesach, any sort of taroivis is mutter. Here comes a third shita, even more make. For Rabbi Yehuda Amar, chametz b'zmanoi, chametz even on Pesach itself, bein b'minoi, ubein shaloi b'minoi, whether it's mixed into the min or shaloi b'minoi, the only way it's going to be aser is aser b'neisen tam. If you can give off a flavor. Just a drop of chametz is not sufficient to aser the rest. Because Rabbi Yehuda holds that this is the general model. Only Sunnah Shabbat Torah will only make the terubis aser if there's enough to give off flavor. And that applies to chametz as well, even on Pesach. So that's number one. He's very makel. Number two, he says, it's going to be like Shmuel, shaloi b'zmanei. After Pesach, any sort of mixture is mutter. Bein b'minon, whether it fell into the min, bein shaloi b'minon, or something similar to it, mutter, because it's not the chametz of our olav Pesach intact. Therefore, there's no knas. Explains the Gemara. So number one, chametz b'zmanei, chametz on Pesach itself, bein b'minoi, bein shaloi b'minoi, whether it fell into the min or shaloi b'minoi, you need to have more than just a drop. But no, time you have to give a flavor to affect the rest of the taruvis. Why? That's a general model applied to all Yisurim and to chametz as well. Rabbi Yehuda Tamei. Rabbi Yehuda is in line with his shita. To Rabbi Yehuda, Reish Lakish Damit Havai, they both said, Kol Yisurim Shebet Torah, all Yisurim in the Torah, bein b'minon, bein shaloi b'minon, whatever they fell into, the same min or different min, be'er nois and tam, it's only reckoned with if it's here. It's tangible, it's discernible, the flavor has been distributed throughout the taruvas. Therefore, chametz on Pesach as well will follow along with that formula. Even chametz on Pesach, you need to have enough there to give off flavor, and then you feel it in the rest of the taruvas and makes it us. So that's number one. Rabbi Yechanan is mekel based on his formula elsewhere. And number two, says Rabbi Yechanan, sheloi bizmanai. If this mixture occurred with chametz after Pesach, then any mixture is mutter. Bein b'minoi, bein sheloi b'minoi, mutarin. Why? Rabbi Shimon. Because like Shmuel, he also holds that the Isser is only midrabanan, like Rabbi Shimon, and therefore only when the Isser is intact do we say it's Asr, but once it's mixed in, there's a roy of heter connectoi, that Isser is no longer in existence, and therefore it's mutter. So in summary, when we have a taroivis of other Isur, non-chametz Isur, what formula do we apply? We have machlekes. According to Rabbi Shmuel, depends. If it fell into something of its same type, same flavor, b'minoi, then even a mashu of Isur can affect the rest, because it's not batal. It doesn't have the contrasting flavors to nullify the Isser. However, sheloi b'minoi falls into something that has a contrasting flavor, then the Isser is batal unless it has enough there to give off flavor, to be nice and tam and the rest. So for instance, if you have 60 times heter as much as the Isser, in that case the Isser is no longer discernible, its flavor is no longer nikar in the taruvas, and it is batal. According to Rabbi Yechanan Rish Lakish, whether it's b'minoi or sheloi b'minoi, it's one and the same. It will only make it asr if it has enough to give off tam in the rest of the taruvas. Otherwise, it's no longer in existence and not reckoned with. And when it comes to chametz on Pesach, we have a machlekes, Rav, Shmuel, and Rabbi Yechanan. Rav says, on Pesach itself, due to the kuris involved, we have to be machmer. So whether the chametz fell into minoi or sheloi b'minoi, even a mashu will make it asr. If it's sheloi b'zmani, after Pesach, we apply this standard formula because the kuris is no longer in existence. So then we say, well, if it's b'minoi, yeah, mashu will make it asr. But sheloi b'minoi, then you need more. It needs to be noisein tam. Shmuel disagrees. He says, even b'zmanoi, we treat it like a regular isser. B'minoi is mashu, but sheloi b'minoi, a mashu is not enough. You need to have noisein tam. Number two, he disagrees with sheloi b'zmani. He says, it's only the Rabbanan or following Reb Shimon. So any sort of mixture, b'minoi, sheloi b'minoi, we mutter, even if there's noisein tam, because the isser is no longer intact. Rabbi Yechanan is mekel even further. He says, even b'zmanai, we apply the general formula that the Isser needs to have nice and tam to make the Terevis Asr, in accordance with his Shita elsewhere. And Chametz is like any other Isser, so whether it's b'minoi or sheloi b'minoi, you need to have a tam in order to make the rest Asr. And when it comes to sheloi b'zmanai, he was like Shmuel, that any sort of mixture is mutter, because it's only D'Rabbanan, the Isser is no longer intact. So who does the halacha follow? Amar Rava. So Rava is going to take both sides of the spectrum. On the one hand, he's going to say on Pesach itself, due to the kuris involved, I'm going to be machmir like Rav. Even a mashu of chametz can make the taruvas asr, whether it's minoi or sheloi b'minoi. But after Pesach, then it's going to be batal, whether it's minoi or sheloi b'minoi. He's going to follow the shita of Shmuel Rabbi Yechanan. Amar Rava, hilchasa chametz bizmanoi. If it's on Pesach itself, bein b'minoi, bein sheloi b'minoi. If it falls into minoi or sheloi b'minoi, asr b'mashu kirav. Even a drop of chametz will make it asr in accordance with Rav, that on Pesach will more machmir. However, sheloi b'zmanoi after Pesach, bein b'minoi, bein sheloi b'minoi mutter, Rabbi Shimon. Whether it falls into minoi or sheloi b'minoi, it's going to be mutter in accordance with Rabbi Shimon, that holds that there's no Issa Torah after Pesach. So we'll make. Is that so? The Rava said that after Pesach any taruvas is mutter? V'amar Rava, didn't Rava say? True. I mean, the rice is no Issa. But Rabbi Shimon knas kanis. Rabbi Shimon applied a knas. Since the person was over on the Bali Rov Matzah, so true not Torah, there's no Isser. But when the Rabban is an Isser, so how can you say it's just Batal B'Rov? Hani Milu Be'ene. That's only when the Isser is intact. Then we have the Knas. But once the Isser has been mixed in, then we say it's Batal B'Rov. You don't have the object of the Avera in front of you. So therefore there's no Isser, the Rabbanon, there's no Knas, and it's Mutter. V'oz the Rava l'tameh. Rava, who followed Reb Shimon, that there's no Issa Torah after Pesach. It's only Midrabanan, it's a Knas, applied only when there was an Issa by Matzah committed. Chametz of Yisrael, but not Chametz of a Goy. So Rava is following his Shita, the Amar Rava, as Rava said, Ki avinon be'Rav Nachman. When we were by Rav Nachman, ki havu nafki, shiva yoyim de pischa, when the 7 days of Pesach were up, Omerlan, he instructed us, Puku uzvinu, go out and buy chamira chametz, divnei chel of the goyim, even though they baked it on Pesach. It's not aser because chametz after Pesach isn't derabbanan, it's a knas, when there was an isser done. Chametz of a goy doesn't have that, because there's no isser of bal yirah, bal yimatz. Okay, time for a brief chazar of today's daf. We learned in the Mishnah that chametz after Pesach is aser bahana, provided it was the chametz of a Yisrael. But a chametz of a goy, a chametz of hegdish, doesn't have that isser. We concluded that the correct approach is Rava's approach. We're following Reb Shimon, that after Pesach there's no isser Torah, it's only a knas, and only when there was an isser bal yirah, bal yimatz done, as opposed to the chametz of a goy, or chametz of hegdish. We had a brisa where a person ate chametz of hegdish on Pesach. One shita said he did milah, other shita said loimal. We had 5 ways to explain the brisa, and we concluded that the halacha is chametz on Pesach is more stringent, so any sort of mixture, a mash of chametz falling into anything will make it aser. But after Pesach, if it falls into anything, it's batal b'roiv, because the isser is no longer intact.